The title of my talk today is The Inception Factor. Isn't that a great shot? Isn't that a great picture? What I love about this picture is that it empowers me. It lets me know that I can stand right where I am and move things. Do you know that about yourself? You know, we think about Moses in the Red Sea. This is a great contemporary version of Moses in the Red Sea. Now, we don't tend to believe that story, some of us. Some people say, how could that be? How could Moses have walked? It must have been low tide. Nobody noticed it. And they kept walking, and then high tide came just as the Egyptians came to the edge, and then high tide came up, and they were like, Moses moved the water. Well, maybe he did. Because I'm starting to believe that some of these old Bible stories that my ministerial students are working on this week, some of these Bible stories maybe are truer than I've given credit to. Maybe they actually understood how powerful they were back then. And we have become so callous to the power that we are that we believe it's all out there, that the power is out there. And yet there we stand. This is a perfect replication of what your mind is capable of doing. You can move mountains with your mind, if you were so to believe that. So the title of the talk is The Inception Factor. Now, the definition of inception is the moment something has been started. Inception. The moment something has been started. How many of you right now are starting something, anything new? Great. That's a lot of people, right, Reverend Linda? Starting a brand new job as a minister of a church, right? It's a lot of fun. I can tell you that. It is. It is, and you know, it is an amazing job being a minister. So this idea, the beginning of something new, the very moment something begins. So when is that? When is the inception of a new script for you, Eric? When does that really happen? When is the inception of something that you really want to accomplish in your life? Right? When does that really happen? Does it happen when you're in it? Does it happen when you actually make something happen? Does it happen when someone gives you an idea or an idea pops up? What is the beginning? What is the inception? Right? The moment something has been started. Well, Ernest Holmes says this: perfect belief is the beginning and the end of all good mental work. Now, the operative word there is perfect. Perfect belief is the beginning and the end of all good mental work. So if the operative word is perfect, that means there is nothing in the way of the inception of your idea. However, your idea will always be molded and filtered from the belief that you are coming from, whatever that belief is. So inception really is the moment that you accept something as true, and then it starts. So I have a lot of questions for you today. I have a lot of questions for myself, and that is, what do we believe? Our beliefs are paramount to what we do. That boy, man, whoever it is standing there, has to have believed this for this to happen. Your ideas, the things you all raised your hand about, you must believe that there is a destination for that idea. So if the inception of your idea is the belief you have about it, I want you to think about what you raised your hand about. If you didn't raise your hand, think about something you want to do. And ask yourself, what beliefs are you allowing in there to form it, to mold it? So last night, I was at dinner with friends, and we hadn't seen them in a while, actually since Nora passed. And we were in the middle of a discussion about all the things we're doing in life. And my friend turned to me and he said, after I told him all the projects I was working on, and he told me all the projects he was working on, he looked at me and he went, "It's exhausting, isn't it?" And I thought about it, and he said, and here's why it's exhausting. And he said this, and I wrote it right down. He said, because there is so much chaos, confusion, and distraction in the world that all of these ideas don't seem to be able to get off the ground. Chaos, confusion, and distraction. There's major chaos in the world right now. There's a lot of chaos, yes? Wouldn't you say? In the world, a lot of chaos, the energy of chaos. There's also a lot of confusion in the world. How do we get better? How do we do this in a way that can heal? How do we blah, 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 ... So there is chaos and there is confusion. And then there is so much distraction. because we want to be distracted from the chaos and the confusion. So we step into distraction called Netflix. I said to Kevin this morning, because he finally finished Game of Thrones, and I said, 8 seasons, right? And I said, do you realize, of course, my math wasn't, it was very early, so my math was off. I said, you just watched 800 hours of television. It was 80. But when I said 800, it seemed so big. Then I said 80, and I went, wait, that's still a lot of television, right? Which I don't blame you, and I will catch up. So we have it. Here's the chaos, here's the confusion, and here are all the distractions we've given us. And do you want to know what's the biggest distraction going? And I meant to bring it up here. Could you hand me that that's in your lap? Yeah, your cell phone. Just for a second. I'll give it back to you. So then she said, right. Oh, you have it on. It said that, so then it's. Hello. So it says here, so then she said, and then this Siri, I guess, went, I'm not sure I understand what you're saying. This is one of the biggest, but anyway, I got to look at this. No, this is one of the biggest distractions going, don't you think? Yeah. Yes, we didn't have that years ago. We had to distract ourselves with other things. We didn't have that, not that long ago. In my lifetime, I didn't own a cell phone. And my friend said to me last night, he said, you know what I asked for my birthday? I asked everyone to come to dinner without their cell phones. I said, did they? And he went, yeah. I said, how was the dinner? He went, amazing. We actually talked. And nobody's phone dinged. And nobody was talking to me while they were checking to see what just dinged. He said it wasn't. So I turned to Kevin and said, you know what I want for my birthday? A new cell phone. So, no, I said, you know what I want for my birthday? I want the same thing. I want us to go out to dinner alone with nobody else and leave our cell phones at home. And did you say yes? I don't remember how that ended. So chaos, confusion, and distraction. So here's the thing. So let's go back to Inception. So you have an idea. Today is all about how to use this science, this teaching. So the inception of an idea. Now, I have a new project I'm working on right now that you're all going to hear about soon. And that idea is so clear to me. It is so absolutely clear. And yet, when I step into the chaos around me, or be confused about where does this want to go, what does that want to do, or distract myself away from the idea diminishes. In my experience of it, not the truth of it. But it diminishes. Why? Because I have somehow added chaos, I have somehow added confusion, I have somehow added distraction to my inception. And it can affect it. Remember, Ernest Holmes said perfect belief. Perfect belief does not allow chaos or confusion or distraction to have anything to do with the truth of what it knows. So here's your idea, here's the belief, here's what you know, absolutely know. Do you ever know something so definitely, you're so clear, and then you talk to someone and they confuse you about it? Because you tell them your idea and they're like, I don't think that's going to work. Well, a perfect belief wouldn't allow for that. A perfect belief would be, I understand what you're saying, but I'm pretty clear. I'm very clear. I'm absolutely definite. So thank you for your opinion. So thank you for your opinion, and go. So that's the way this works. Do you have a perfect idea? Do you have a perfect belief, which is what I call inception, the inception factor? The perfect belief, the perfect idea that is not going to be hampered or distracted by anything. That's what I want you to ask yourself today, and I certainly have been asking myself that. Because these ideas, chaos, confusion, distraction, they can add to it or detract from it. Anything can be added to your idea, but a lot can also be detracted from your idea. Your job is to make sure you know which is which. Is this supporting what I want to do? I will do that. Is this distracting from it? Is this detracting from it? Is this making it weaker? Then this has no place in my life. Way too often we concern ourselves with and allow ourselves to focus on this stuff over here, when Ernest Holmes is saying a perfect belief is the beginning and ending of every situation, every idea. The beginning and ending of every idea, meaning perfect belief, perfect demonstration. Nothing in the middle but truth. Can you live your life that way? Perfect beginning, perfect ending, nothing but truth in between. That's how powerful. And then you've got the mind that can do this. In the Bible, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And all things were made by the Word, and without the Word was not anything made that was made. Now just think about that for a minute. What does word mean? It's not your words. I always say when someone treats and they say, I release my words into law, I'm like, no, you don't. You're not releasing your words into law. First of all, you don't release anything into anything. So if you're going to release your words as law, it's not your words. Your words make up your word. The word is the belief. So that's what he's talking about here. Whoever wrote this Bible part. In the beginning was the belief, and the belief was with God. The belief is God, and all things were made by the belief, and without the belief was not anything made that was made. Without your absolute true beliefs, you will not be creating anything other than mixed messages and a mishigash. That's a Jewish word. A mishigash. Am I wrong? That is a Christian's idea of a Jewish word, I guess. Mishigas. Oh, see? Great. See, you can learn some new beginnings. So, Ernest Holmes then said about that Bible piece, he said, man's word as God is creative. And then he says this, there must be a recognition that the power of the word operating as truth can do all things. There must be a recognition that the power of your word, the power of your belief, operating as the truth, can do all things. And the operative word there, by the way, is all. Can do all things. Because I fear that what we've done with this teaching, with this philosophy, with this science, I fear that what we have done is we have taken this truth and divvied it out for where we think it can work. Well, it can get me a parking place. I'm really good at that. Well, it can help my finances. It never seems to clear it up, but it can make it a little bit better. That's what we do. We dole it out. We say, I can be equal to this. I could never be equal to that, but I could be equal to this. And yet, there must be a recognition that the power of your belief operating as truth can do all things. Nothing should pop up in your life where you look at it and say, this might be a challenge. This might be difficult. Because you know what you just did? Belief, and in the middle you created some chaos, some confusion. And then you're distracting it from doing that. We are the distraction to our own demonstrations. You allow your mind to be the distraction from the very thing you want to create. So, as Ernest Holmes says, you must have a recognition. You have to recognize who you are. You have to recognize what you're capable of doing. You have to not only recognize it, but believe it so clearly, or as Ernest Holmes says, so perfectly that you couldn't possibly distract it from demonstrating the way you want it. Now, I can tell by your positioning of your bodies and heads that this is kind of, I was just going to say, it's annoying. Because we all grew up in a religion where we could just go, God, please give it to me. I'm a good person. And then hope that God gives it to us. Hope that God gives it to us. Well, frankly, that was a lot easier. Don't you think? A lot. That was fast. Who said that? Archie, right, Archie? That was a lot easier than what I'm talking about right now. But you know why? You know why it seems easier? Because we have been predispositioned to think that way for so long, and this may be new. For me, I'm 65 years old. I've been thinking this way for half of my life. Half of my life. But the half before that, I was actually thinking a very different way. I wasn't thinking it had to do with me, except being good. You know, that was it. So what I'm talking about here today takes a decision from you to actually pay attention to what your mind is doing, to actually know what you believe. And if you don't believe it, own up to it. Say, I don't know if I believe this. I don't know if I can do this. I don't really know if I am who he says I am. How many of you still have issue with the I am God thing? You can raise your hands. Oh, wow, we've done good work here. We'll talk later. But most people do. I mean, I'm sure we've all been listening to this now for years from me. I've been listening to it from myself, and sometimes it's exhausting to hear it constantly. Wait, you're God. How did you just do that? Why do you think this is going to be a challenge? Every time something in my head says, wow, this is going to be a challenge, I go back to, wait, do I know who I am or do I not know who I am? Why is this a challenge and this not? I used to always say, cancer, hangnail. And then I got cancer. And I was like, this is a lot bigger than a hangnail. And then I was like, whoa, no, it better not be. It better not be. Or you're not going to be able to do what this very quote says. A recognition that the power of your belief operating as truth can do all things. All things. I am dealing right now with a number of people who are transitioning in their lives. And one of the things that happens in this teaching is that a religious scientist facing their imminent death can very easily feel like they're failing. Why can't I heal this? Why can't I live forever? Fame. Keep up. Just keep listening. Right? And it's not failure. It is not failure. If our life is eternal, perfect belief, my life is eternal. If I absolutely know my life is eternal and my body has said, I'm done, sometimes we need to listen to our bodies. I think we will give ourselves a much more beautiful transition if we're willing to listen to our bodies and say, I'm done. Okay, I'm done. So that's this teaching that we're all in. But we have to understand it correctly, or as Ernest Holmes said, we have to have a perfect belief, not an imperfect belief, or not a half-baked belief, or not a mixed message belief where we're saying, I do believe it when this happens, but sometimes it doesn't work that way. It works that way, as he writes, all the time, for all things. You know, someone recently said to me, who was very clearly close to transitioning, said, you know, Anita Marjani came back and her life is, she's vibrant and healthy again. And I think I may want that. And I said, just to be clear, Anita Marjani died and then came back. Everything shut down. She went straight, flatline. And then she came back. I don't know what happened. I read her book. It's brilliant. I love to believe that exactly what she says happened to her. And I believe 100% that it did happen to her. But I don't know because I haven't done it. I have not done that. I'm not planning on flatlining anytime soon. So, but what I said was she died and came back. I said, so perhaps when you are done with your body, maybe you go somewhere and you're asked a question. Are you done? Or do you want to go back? I love that idea. This sounds like a great movie, Eric, to write. Are you done? Has it ever been done? Surely that's been done. Yeah, many times. Thank you, Becky. Many times. Move on. Movie's done. So, do you want to go back or are you done? Well, interesting thing, because when I was having this conversation with this person, I said, you know, there are moments when I actually think Nora had a question. Are you done or do you want to go on or do you want to go back? And I feel like there's a great possibility. She looked at her body and said, that body's no longer going to serve me. So I'm good to go. He'll be fine. I'm good to go. And life continues. It doesn't end. It continues. This is what we believe. But do we believe it perfectly? I don't think so. Because if we believed it perfectly, we would be a lot less afraid of death. We would also stop treating death as a failure, as something that went wrong. Death is not wrong. I hate to give you this information, but you're all going there. At some point, every person in this congregation will be on another level of consciousness. Right? I mean, does anybody think they're going to beat that one? We're not. Not that we know of yet. Who knows what could come forward. But it can't be the end of anything. So talk about a perfect belief. I want you to think right now about what it is you raised your hand about, those of you who raised your hands. I want you to think about, how do you get that idea to its perfect demonstration? How do you get what you know is yours to do or receive or create to its perfect destination? Well, the first thing, the Inception factor tells you, do you have a perfect belief? Is it a perfect belief? Meaning there are no ifs, ands, or buts. Your mind is not saying, maybe, I'm not sure, but I could maybe try it. Try. What is that quote from Star Trek? Try or don't try. No. Do or do not. No, what is it? Do or do not, there is no try. Yoda. Yes, Yoda, great mystic. So I have the 3 W's for you today, okay? I want to give you something to end this. Not just have you sitting there going, oh my God, is my belief perfect? But you do need to ask that question. Is my belief perfect? Is this going to express through me for the highest and the best? I always ask that. Is what is coming through me for the highest and best of everyone? Not just me, but of everyone around me. So there are 3 W's to ask. You've got this perfect, here's the inception factor. You've got this perfect belief. Nothing's changed it yet. Nothing's affected it yet. It's just a great belief. Remember when you're in those moments and no one's around you, you haven't shared it with anyone, and it's like, oh my God, yes. How many of you have had that? Has everybody had that feeling? Okay, so good. So we've all had that feeling, and it's like, yes, yes, yes. So what are the 3 things? 3 W's, 3 whats. What do I believe? What distracts me from that belief? And what is it worth to me? 3 things. What do I believe? What you have to ask yourself is, here's the idea. What do I believe about it? And check it out. Because frankly, that idea has come to you, but you are the conglomeration of all of your core beliefs. Right? So it's come to you, but you're only going to think about it in the way you think about it, because Kathy Kuhn only thinks the way Kathy Kuhn thinks. We all think very differently. No. We all think different things. So the first thing is, what do I believe about this thing that's come through? Do the work. Live the results. Do the work. What do I believe about this? Now next, what distracts me from that belief? Allow it up. Allow it to come up. Allow yourself to say, I do have questions about it. I do have doubts. Let that come up so that you can counter it with the absolute truth about the belief that's coming through you. What do I believe? What distracts me? And now, for me, what's really important, what is it worth to me? What is it worth to me? I think we take up a lot of things that really aren't worth much to us as distractions. There's so much chaos in the world, so much confusion in the world, that we pick things up and do them as distractions and keep ourselves so busy. That's what that conversation last night made me think. It was like, I'm so busy, but am I busy doing things that are worth it to me? Am I really spending my time? Am I spending my energy? Am I spending my creativity doing things that are worth it to me? I have a number of projects. Kevin very generously yesterday put them all on a board for me to see so that I could, apparently finish them. He did. I walked into the room. I was like, what's all of that? It's all me. Wow. And he's right. And I looked at the board and I asked myself these questions. What do I believe about each one of these? What distracts me from my making this happen? And then my last one, which is, what are these worth to me? Is there anything I can take off that board and say, you know what? You are not worth my time and energy. The good news was that there was nothing up on there that I wanted to take off that board. But then I had to ask myself the question, why are they all still kind of laying there? So I had to go back to, what do I believe? And the what do I believe about what is mine to do really is the thing that moves it forward. So the inception factor is you going from belief to activation. What's going to take you from the idea to actually stepping into the idea? What's going to take you from the idea to actually making it demonstrate? What is going to take you from just being someone who moves through life reacting to someone who moves through life as the active, creative energy of the universe, moving your ideas into a world of confusion and chaos that actually your ideas take and help calm the world? What is it going to take for us to actually stand in I am God and live from that? Do what is ours to do from that. And what is it going to take for us to lose our distractions and stay focused on what we absolutely believe? You want new beginnings in your life? You have to start with what you believe. Because you can physically begin things and they can just fall away. Or You can literally change your consciousness. You can literally stand in the middle of your life like this and move mountains. You have a mind that is so powerful, it can accomplish anything you choose to do. You have a mind that is so spiritually full that it can accomplish whatever desire and idea you decide is worth it. So start deciding what your life is worth. And the minute you get clear, this is what I'm worth. This is what this idea is worth. The minute you do that, and you back it with a belief that can go from beginning to ending without all the crap in between, and I guarantee you, you are going to be standing in a life that is so full, so powerfully vibrant, so alive with creativity and success. You will just be living on such a high level of consciousness, everyone's going to be Harry and Sallying you to death, saying, I want what she has. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you.